Good morning. I'm Ilmarinen Vogel. I am celebrating the arrival of my newly issued and published books. This is a point of view. I told you about that one. This is Reinventing Life that sprang out of the accident and recovery story, and then there is Crossing Borders, which is a story about somebody surviving as a physician. And then I finally arrived at Glacier on Kilimanjaro. Glacier on Kilimanjaro is a circumnavigation of Europe by a group of young people who were sent to Africa to see if they could make suggestions how to make the German East African colony more viable. And they are discovering things that are interesting for the whole world, especially since it was playing in the time before World War I, and certain concerns that were expressed then did not change, and we have the same concerns today. And so it's a story that will interest a lot of people, especially now that we are seeking global solutions and that we are seeking to understand what to do with this world. I'm reading a note from the introduction. This book examines possibilities and differences and seeks answers to questions about the human existence on this planet. Glacier on Kilimanjaro seeks answers and hope, where choices can be made for the betterment of all of mankind, to give life in dignity to everyone, and to turn despair into hope by removing humans from the human resource list, after distributing the wealth created by labor fairly, rather than moving 98% of wealth to 2% of the population, failing communities, our elders, and our children. To take humans off the endangered species list and to save the planet is the reason this book was written. I will tell you about another short place in this book. When I had left Africa myself, I was compelled to not be the second French horn of the Durban Symphony anymore, because I learned while I was learning English that they did not have any problem with the apartheid, and I did. And I came from a family that barely survived the Nazi regime in Germany, and so after I left, I was interviewed about my departure from Africa, and I said, walking away from the girl was hard, but there was a growing chasm, too wide to bridge. How did your French horn professor react? I reported that I had left Durban in protest. I told him that for me music was a gift to all of mankind, and not an exclusive pleasure and amusement for white racists. I told him how worried I was about the future of my friends who represent a mere 2% of the population in their country, but try to control 99% of everything. I had left word with one of the new musicians to tell the orchestra about the reason for my departure, my protest against apartheid and the killing of indigenous people for sport. So this was my reaction, my justification for leaving Africa, and now I have one more remark that is important to report to you. Instead, society is trapped in pursuit of monetary gain, legal manipulation, and certain death through unfettered technology, industrialization, and automation. Life and the essence of community are solely the human being that understands itself in its core through freedom and recognition of self. That is why empowerment against the endangerment of humanity rests with the inner enhancement and nurturing of the individual. It requires to develop the power of new ears and new music and new organs for our human existence. We must take up this armor and never put it down. So this was a remark that was made by my younger brother Christian, who has also been to Durban and to Africa, and who understands the world from his own circumnavigation. And Glacier on Kilimanjaro is available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon and all the other major booksellers. And it will, besides being a really thoroughly researched portrait of especially the harbors around Europe, and then Africa and Italy and Libya and Greece, and then through the Suez Canal. There are stories about what is going on in all these places right before World War I, and all the thoughts that were contemplated, and all the discussions that were had are taking place in this book. And it shows a group of young people who were enthusiastic about the world and hopeful about the idea that they might be able to create a new colony with an inclusive and just example for humanity that was not locked into old patterns the way Europe was. And so the fear of the world falling into war and the hope that alternatives could be created was still alive at the time. So this is the story of Glacier on Kilimanjaro, and I invite you to get your copy at Barnes & Nobles or at Amazon. And so now I am also showing you the website. I have a website that is called ilmarinenvogel.com, and it will help you to see what else I have done. And there are some interviews and things on that website. So I invite you to check it out, and I hope you have a wonderful day.